Yeah, 100 people dead, and as you say, up to 160 still missing. And look, as much as you try to blunt the questioning, it's going to grow, isn't it? Why did this happen, and why weren't we prepared?
Naturally, without a doubt. And I do think in the early days, Sunday into Monday, the natural inclination of the internet and really just the American public was to blame the Trump administration. Obviously, there's been this huge focus on cuts to the federal budget at agencies like FEMA, the emergency management agency nested under DHS, and of course to atmospheric monitoring groups like NOAA or the National Weather Service. But it looks like there really were bigger failings on the state government than their federal counterparts at this point in time. Kerr County, the county in Texas where the flooding was its worst over the weekend, we now know on multiple occasions over the last decade had requested new emergency management and alert systems be put in by the state. In every case, those were ignored. So again, the questions will only continue. But what I will say is that this incident seems to have blunted Donald Trump's attempts to cut the FEMA budget even further. Again, he was criticized just last month for shaking up leadership ahead of hurricane season here in the United States. And with this deadly disaster on his hand, he is backpedaling from plans to shutter the administration entirely.
A change of tack, and it's a big change of pace, of course. Let's talk tariffs. And much is made of it here in this country about the effect on Australia. And look, the bottom line is it's not going to be enormous. Where the real effect is, Christian, is with the people in the United States. Many of those people were the ones that voted for Donald Trump.
Without a doubt, and I do think if you ask economic experts, we haven't necessarily seen the inflationary shocks that the president tariffs would bring yet. That's, primarily because he keeps kicking this thing down the line like he did earlier this week. Of course, we had this July 9th deadline. It was 90 days after the original announcement of these Liberation Day reciprocal tariff rates. But now, once again, Donald Trump has pushed this back to August. And there are some real world implications here. First and foremost, Donald Trump has been hounding Fed Chair Jerome Powell to cut interest rates ever since January. And Powell has said, we have to wait and see where the tariff rates actually end up if President Trump actually implements this entire reciprocal agenda in the first place. So because the president keeps pushing this thing down the line, we're going to see more foot dragging from the Fed when it comes to cutting inflation, when it comes to cutting interest rates to combat inflation. I think the other impact that you're seeing right now is perhaps some countries like Australia, close allies of the United States, who, let's just say, tried to enter into these negotiations in good faith. I think they're sort of losing confidence. This is coming specifically from conversations with folks at the embassies of Japan and South Korea, two of these first countries to receive tariff letters from the president, initiating this new rate on August 1st and saying negotiations are over. There is sort of a sense of, let's just say, less than seriousness when it comes to the lead negotiators, whether it's Scott Bessent or Jameson Greer or Howard Lutnick, because of the way the president is sort of flip-flopping on this issue. And you're right, American consumers are eventually going to be the ones paying these added costs because no company in their right mind is going to eat those costs. They'll pass them on to the consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, because time's always our enemy, Elon Musk, he's not the kind of guy that will just put something to bed and move away, is he? He will fight at his adversaries, and now the president is an adversary. How damaging can the richest man in the world be?
I don't know how damaging he can be, but he can certainly, at the least, be a significant thorn in Trump and Republican sides come midterm elections next year in 2026. We've seen Musk take polls on X, should I launch a new party, the America Party? He's talked about backing the campaigns of folks like Thomas Massie and other quote unquote fiscal hawk Republicans whom Donald Trump has vowed to primary based on that reconciliation bill fight just a few weeks ago. So I do think, at the least, Elon Musk is going to play in some of these races, make the RNC, Donald Trump empty their campaign coffers a little bit to defend some of these races that just until a few weeks ago we thought would have been safely Republican.
Yeah. Christian, it's always great to have you on the program. You're right in the middle of it there at the White House, and we love having a chat. Thank you so much.